Alright, what's up you guys? Welcome to the 80s and 90s. In today's episode, we're going to briefly take a look at the nostalgia properties of the 80s and 90s and go back to those very simple and beautiful times of Saturday morning cartoons, where here we have none other than the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which are the only figures from the 80s, and then we have Street Sharks, we have Biker Mice from Mars, and then we have Gargoyles. Now, of course, these are the modern versions of the figures, as I do have the retro ones, which we'll get into another video at some point. But for now, the question that I want to ask you collectors is, are the 80s and 90s returning back in modern day? Because we have so many incredible new updated figures from the previous released versions, and in here we have NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we have the NECA Goliath from Gargoyles, Mattel's 2024 Street Sharks, and the 2024 Nacelle Biker Mice from Mars figures. Now, if you don't know the significance of owning these figures, it's simply because if you remember from the golden eras of waking up Saturday morning and watching your favorite cartoons, eating your bowls of cereal, there's nothing more like it. And as a quick little backstory, this was something where it meant a lot to me growing up, because when you got off school, you couldn't wait to wake up the next morning and then watch your favorite animated series. And of course, there's so many other characters and TV shows that are out there in terms of popularity and other companies making them. But for now, this is basically what I like to call part one, because there's going to be an updated version of these at some point. So I wanted to just briefly take an overview of all these figures, because I have done a review on these figures in my other videos, so go ahead and check that out. But for now, I just want to say I absolutely love these anthropomorphic characters, aside from Goliath. Basically what made my childhood freaking fantastic. So let's go ahead and take a look at these characters that have similar character development and traits, and then otherwise, and just enjoy these figures for what they are. So let's go ahead and take a look at specific groups. Okay, now as a little bonus, I wanted to throw in the NECA Gargoyles Goliath figure, because this was one of my favorite all-time cartoons from the animated series of the 90s. And if you haven't seen Gargoyles, I will say go ahead and watch it, because it is a fantastic, dark cartoon that you will not be disappointed, because there's so many plot twists and turns within that show. Now, I kind of want to foreshadow the future videos coming on the channel, because this is the only NECA Gargoyles figure that I have, because there's a rumor going on that the NECA Gargoyles line has been canceled. So even though they have made all the other four characters at the time of making this video, some characters don't have their folded wings, and there has been some re-releases of figures in the past few months here and there. So we'll see what happens, but again, I want to foreshadow it, and I will go more in depth of this figure down the line. But I will say, despite this figure not being 100% accurate to how it is in the cartoon, this is more of an updated, modern version of, the Gargoyles line, with so much intense sculpting and so much muscles and veins popping out, whereas if you've seen the original cartoon, you'll know that Goliath is more stubbier looking. And of course, a lot of collectors had complaints about these giant ass wings, which take up a lot of shelf space, but the face sculpt regardless is absolutely beautiful. And I don't want to spend too much time on this, because there will be a separate video for this particular line in the future. But for now, I just want to say I love Gargoyles, and it's, again, one of the best cartoons of all time. So go ahead and check that out. So that is the NECA Gargoyles Goliath figure. Alright, so now when it comes to the leaders of these specific animated series, we have Throttle from Biker Mice from Mars, we have Ripster from Street Sharks, and we have Leonardo from the Ninja Turtles. Now, these characters roughly have the same character traits, in the sense of they're all the heroic leaders of the group. They basically try to do what's right. They try to make decisions that don't only affect the entire group, but make sure that every individual character has a responsibility and does what's best for everyone in terms of when final battles and decision making is going on. So again, these guys are pretty heroic in the sense of fantastic role models, if you want to say, the kind of like do-gooders of the show. Now, even though that Ripster, or should I say the Street Sharks, are the knockoffs of the Ninja Turtles in some sense, and the similarities that all these figures have in general are just the fact that they love certain specific types of food, which we have the Biker Mice from Mars that love hot dogs, Street Sharks love hamburgers, and the Ninja Turtles love pizza. Now, I will say there are other animated series properties that are not included in this video, which are the Mighty Ducks, which, Wild Wing would be a very awesome induction into this video, but there hasn't been a company that's made him yet, so down the line that would be cool. But other than that, these are the three main heroic characters from the anthropomorphic era of the 80s and 90s. So once again, we have Leonardo, Ripster, and Throttle. Alright, and next, when it comes to the hotheads of the group, we have Raphael, and then we have Jab. So within the animated series line, both of these figures are roughly the same in the sense of they have a hot temper and don't really follow the rules, and also sometimes disobey or go against the leader's wishes of what's to be done right. So Raphael, he doesn't really need an introduction because we know the type of character that he is within the show. Even though in the cartoon he was very comedic relief-ish and and tossed in a lot of jokes, but in the actual sense of Raphael that everyone really knows is him and his anger. So it really just shows him and Leonardo beefing a lot. And Jab, even though Street Sharks didn't necessarily capture the Jab and Ripster duo of them arguing with each other, they still had some minor scenarios where Ripster would want to do something and Jab would kind of go against his wishes and kind of show off his temper and roughly just do his own thing. So even though these two are the hotheads of the group, there is something interesting about this group as well, because Jab is also a mixture of, should I include Donatello within this segment, simply because Donatello is also the inventor of the group, and Jab also is the somewhat inventor of the group because Jab made a jetpack within the animated series, and Donatello, we know, is the mastermind of all the inventions and stuff. So I guess you can say Jab definitely works that 2-on-1 scenario. So overall, pretty cool characters. So again, we have Donatello and Raphael from the Ninja Turtles, and then we have the Street Sharks, Jeb. Alright, so now when it comes to characters that want to have fun, we have Michelangelo, we have Streaks or Blades, and then we have Vinny. Now these are basically characters that have more of a clownish, happy, giddy, the jokester, prankster type characters within the group, the ones who are more careless and fearless for that matter, who do step up in certain ways and have their moments to shine and show off just how intense or faithful they can be when they have to step up to the challenge. But we know Michelangelo is the crazy party dude. Streaks is that crazy adventurous guy who just takes the most extreme route and does the things the hardest way by taking the fun route in terms of trying to get to the villains. And of course he has the rollerblades. And then Vinny is also that character who I wouldn't say has a back and forth between the other two characters, but also has a lot of fun and does things his way in terms of not taking things too seriously. So these characters kind of all run in that same aesthetic or property. So the character development, again, all these characters really do shine when they need to be, but for that matter of them, having fun and just goofing off, these three will definitely be in that situation. So really cool aesthetic looking characters. I love all three of them. They just shine they're just awesome. So again, we have Michelangelo, we have Blades or Streaks, and then we have Vinny. Alright, and last but not least within this group, we're going to toss in kind of the, I guess you can say, the powerhouse of the group, which we have Moto from Biker Mice from Mars, and then we have Big Slamu from Street Sharks. Now, these two don't necessarily match or are the same, I suppose, but in terms of them being the big brutes of the specific groups, I think they kind of work in their own way. Now I think Moto is also kind of like the Donatello of the group in terms of inventions and stuff, but I don't quite remember. So in terms of just being a powerhouse and the strongest members of the group, I'm just going to toss these two in there just because. And on top of that, Slamu does play sports in the show, and Moto basically had a backstory with him and his cousin in the animated series, and also lost his eye and got a mechanical arm. So nothing too similar, but I guess you can say slight minor similarities here and there. So again, just wanted to toss these two in there because I didn't want to leave them out. So that is Big Slamu or Slamu and Moto. Alright, you guys, so that was basically my 80s and 90s modern day nostalgia. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And since today is Saturday, and at the time I'm making this video, it is Saturday morning. So I want to thank you guys all for watching. Be sure to give a like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos like this in the future.